When it comes to which ability in Overwatch is the most powerful one, there's a lot of room for argument. Zenyatta has arguably the most powerful defensive ultimate in the game, but if you look at it from another angle, it is an ultimate that can literally be countered by a regular ability, namely Ana's Biotic Grenade. So how do we define the most powerful ability in the game? Is it Soldier's Tactical Visor because of how little effort it takes to get value out of? I mean, it's literally an aimbot, but then again, a simple Reinhardt shield or a Winston bubble can deny a lot of that value again. Or is it Zarya's Graviton Surge? After all, it immobilizes the entirety of the enemy team if caught in it. However, it doesn't work quite as well against compositions that don't stack, like dive comps, and it often requires another ultimate to actually result in a team wipe, especially if the enemy team is prepared for it and has barriers of sort or a Mei wall to negate it. To answer the question as to which ability is the most powerful one in Overwatch is no easy task, and yet here I am determined to attempt to answer that question once and for all. And we will add a bit of a twist to it, so without further ado, let's get right into it. First contender on our list is Sombra's EMP. Now that's probably going to raise some eyebrows right from the get-go, and that rightfully so. Sombra is not a hero that is equipped with the capability of single-handedly wiping out whole teams, and her EMP is no exception. More often than not, it is in your team's responsibility to take advantage of your ultimate in your stead. When using your EMP, given that you're an average gamer like most of us without the god-given power of flawless tracking, chances are that you won't be able to take out more than one player in the opposing team before you are forced to translocate. So what makes Sombra's EMP a contender for one of the three most powerful abilities, when in the intro already I did rule out Soldier's Tac Visor because its killing potential can easily be negated by basic abilities, and even Zarya's Graviton Surge did not get a lot of love from me because it usually requires another ultimate to finish the job unless the enemies are out of defensive abilities. Well, you are right in your assumption of saying that Sombra heavily relies on her team to follow up on the EMP, but there are two things that make this an incredibly powerful ability. For one, it literally stops some characters from being able to effectively play the game. An early EMP to defuse a teamfight can catch a team off guard in a big way and kill a push just as they decided to commit to it. But even further than that, the versatility of this ultimate is incredible. It stops heroes from effectively being able to use their ultimates or cancel some outright. A Genji that cannot dash reset into your team is not gonna get any value out of his blade if your team plays it smart. A Winston won't be able to disrupt your team's positioning if he can't jump around wildly anymore, and it even removes the shields from Lucio's beat drop. EMP is a defensive ultimate that enables your team to be aggressive while diminishing the enemy team's ability to play aggressively altogether. Another reason this ultimate is so incredibly powerful comes down to information. When hitting an enemy, you are not only 100% certain that they can't use any of their abilities, you also know whether or not they have an ultimate. And that is a bigger deal than you think, because it tells you which heroes to focus on during the next push when EMP might not be available anymore. It becomes way more easy to read what the enemy team attempts to do and react accordingly. Information is an advantage that is not to be neglected. Now, of course, the level of coordination required to effectively make use of Sombra's potential as also her ultimate depends not only on the player who picked her, but also the team's willingness to work together and properly coordinate. Not exactly something that's too common in a lot of solo queue games, even up into Grandmaster. And that, my friends, is the reason why this ability only got the third spot on our list. And the next contender on our list will be High Ground. Now I know what you're thinking. Cliff, you say, High Ground is not an ability. It's a thing. You can't make a video called 3 most powerful abilities and then just add a thing to the list. You know what? Yes, you are right, but honestly, I've used the word thing in my titles way too often recently, to a point where I think nobody's gonna click on the video anymore if I ever do that again. So yes, you may have gotten a little clickbaited, but I am not here to disappoint. Because while High Ground itself is not an ability in Overwatch, not being an idiot sure is. And trust me, the not being an idiot ability is extremely rare on ladder. So let's talk about the importance of high ground play through the power of anecdotal evidence. A game so aggravatingly infuriating that I deleted the file altogether rather than thinking about how I could use that to prove a point in a future video. But I think it's still available as a VOD on my Twitch from about a week back or so. Anyway, Dorado is a good example of a map that illustrates the importance of high ground play. On your way to the second point, there's a whole section that Soldier 70 low skill players love to abuse because it is such a strong position to take. In my game, we had a Roadhog player who was adamant about the fact that he, and I mean it, didn't know how to play Winston. Now make no mistake, we were not looking for someone who is a good Winston player. We just needed a Winston, someone who can contest the high ground together with the team. Long story short is that during our attack phase we barely got the card halfway through because we never managed to take the high ground from the defending team. Our lack of effort to do so certainly played into that. In our defense round we may have had a solid first point defense, but once it got to that second part we got absolutely rolled. And why may that be? Because the enemies never let us set up on high ground to begin with. They played a high mobility composition that took control of the high ground as soon as the first point was taken, to make sure we never had the opportunity to do the same thing to them that they did to us. They weren't mechanically stronger than us by any means, but they played way smarter and understood the importance of high ground play. It is way easier to get free damage out on the enemies from a high ground position because the enemies become easier to hit for you due to the large overview of the map, and you become more difficult to hit for them because of the steep angle that they have when looking up. When playing a composition that effectively takes advantage of high ground with the enemies making no effort to contest it, there is no way the high ground team can lose. The initial push is being diffused very quickly with the free damage you can rain down on them, and all you have to do is collapse on the remaining members of that team for some quick cleanup. Rinse and repeat. And now for the indisputable number 1 on our list, the most powerful ability in Overwatch. Mobility. Make no mistake about it, my friends, the strongest ability in the game is no single skill on a cooldown, neither is it an ultimate. In Overwatch, mobility equals power. Have you ever wondered why Tracer and Genji never really fall out of the meta? It's for that very reason. Their mobility makes them extremely powerful heroes that can adapt to most challenges. Junkrat has gotten significantly more powerful with the addition of a second mind, not only because it allows him to reliably finish off low health targets, but also because it gives him some well-needed mobility. The ability to reposition yourself to adapt to any challenge is absolutely massive in Overwatch. Dive is such a strong type of composition because it is the most mobile setup that the game allows for. If you take Zenyatta as an example, a hero with high damage output at the cost of mobility, his effectiveness pales in front of a skilled Lucio player who's able to quickly adapt to anything the enemies throw at him. A Zenyatta player will fall in the face of a high mobility composition even if the player in question displays high levels of awareness and flawless positioning. A team that controls the battlefield controls the flow of the game. They dictate where the enemies are allowed to go without getting immediately annihilated. They keep forcing them to react to their plays rather than the other way around, and it is them who have every advantage on their side. Genji's Dragon Blade is such a powerful ability because he doesn't care where you are. He is closing the gap and he will get you. McCree's ultimate is so situational because it takes a character that has right about no mobility and it makes him almost stationary. It pales in comparison. High mobility heroes don't wait for opportunities. They don't just abuse a team's poor positioning. They go out of their way to create opportunities, force misplays, and do everything in their power to use the map to their advantage. And that's really all there is to say. In every aspect of the game, Overwatch is about flexibility. Swapping heroes according to the threat in front of you is only one part of it. It also extends to the gameplay itself on a hero-to-hero basis. Map control is very important. Holding crucial choke points or high ground is vital for a team's success. And the heroes that can control the pace of the battle the most are those that have the most access to any given part of the map. The heroes whose mobility allows them to be adaptive in any game and contest any point that is important for a team to win. And that, my friends, is why mobility is the most powerful ability in Overwatch. But this is me done for the day as I talk about the 3 most powerful abilities in Overwatch, at least according to my opinion. In essence, it really just all comes down to information, not being stupid, and mobility. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you don't know what to do now with all that spare time at your hands after watching this video, then what about checking out this other video that I made where I talked about what makes Overwatch so addicting to the masses. It's a bit of a longer video, but it's still a very interesting piece in my opinion if you have 15 minutes to kill and really nothing better to do. Alternatively, there's gonna be another video on screen that YouTube claims is something you are remotely interested in, so maybe check it out and see if they're right. But until then, thank you all once again for watching. Don't forget to leave me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time.